Hi everybody, this is Boogest Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the HIYA Toys Exquisite mini-series, The Walking Dead Dead City Negan and the Walker King figures. So before we take a look at the Walker King, let's go ahead and take a look at Negan and all of his accessories. So first up, Negan comes with his base right here. If I remember right, all of the bases in this series are randomized. So the bases you get with the figures could be different or they could be the same. But Negan stays pegged in there really nicely. You can see that this base is a skull, an arm, and a torso covered in mud. It's detailed pretty nicely for the most part. Up next, he comes with the right-fisted hand and the left open hand. And since this is a tiny figure, it really scares me switching these joints out. I mean, they do pop off for the most part, but man, I'm really scared that these joints could break if I do that too much. Up next, he comes with accessory holding hands. Up next, he comes with this knife. He can actually hold it really well despite it being a really thin accessory. He has storage on his right hip for that, and it stays in there very well. Up next, he comes with this pipe. It's cast in a gunmetal collar. I wish there would have been some blood detailing to the end there. I think that would have been really cool. And finally, he comes with Lucille. And to me, it looks like the bat is actually cast in black and has brown paint over top of it, and of course silver for the barbed wire. Just like with the pipe, I wish it would have had some sort of blood detailing on it. I think that would have looked really cool. So now, let's go ahead and take a look at his head sculpt. So, taking a look at this head sculpt, I think this is actually a really rough looking head sculpt. I think the promo pictures looked great. I think they really look like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And maybe the sculpt is still there with this one, but man, the paint of the face just isn't good. You can see that he has two different eyes, like his right eye is really light and smaller, and his left eye is larger. He doesn't have any gray in his beard, at least right here. I think they might have tried to put some right here, but he should definitely have more gray in his beard. And they didn't even sculpt his hair right. In Dead City, he has the sides kind of shaved, kind of like a fade on them. And I don't think they made that look great at all. This looks nothing like the prototype, and I'm a bit let down by it now that I have it in hand. I will say for the most part his outfit is sculpted really nicely. I can't believe they didn't give him swivels at the bicep, though. You can kind of get him you can see that Lucille doesn't want to go flush to his shoulder right there, because he doesn't have a bicep swivel. I think the new ones like Morgan and Michonne from The Ones Who Live are going to have a bicep swivel. But yeah, Negan doesn't. You can't actually get him holding Lucille properly. I mean, you could kind of stretch his hand out if you wanted, but you can see that it still doesn't want to meet. So I am really let down by that. They also didn't quite get his shirt right underneath the jacket. It's like a dark blue color, and it looks like it's just black to me. I don't think that's actually done in blue. I feel like the buttons on his jacket were also painted a lot better on the promo shots. I also feel like he has really long legs. I don't know if it's just me or not. But yeah, I feel like this figure looks really weird in hand. I feel like the pants were also painted a lot better on the promo shots. It looks like they're actually cast in black and have brown painted over top of them, but they're very glossy. I wish it would have been done in a matte finish. I think that would have looked a lot better. You can see that the boots are actually detailed really nicely. You can see the little stitch work on them. I think they're painted pretty well. But yeah, I definitely wish that these would have been more of a matte finish. I think the jacket for the most part is a matte finish. But it is a leather jacket, so maybe it should have been a little bit glossier, and this should have been more of a matte finish. And I feel like the elbow joints are also a bit of an eyesore. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, so I have to say having this Negan figure in hand is a bit disappointing. So now, let's go ahead and go over his articulation. So he has a ball-jointed head that can look up all the way. He can look down just about all the way. He can move his head side to side and around just a little bit. He has shoulders. Now these feel really stiff. They do move out that far. He has double-jointed elbows that can only bend in that far. He has ball-jointed wrists that can barely move up and down. They can spin all the way around. He has a ball-jointed diaphragm and waist that can barely move back and forward. He does move side to side up here and at the waist. If you take this knife out, his hips can move out that far. He can kick forward a little bit, but then it's kind of just to the side there. He has a little bit of a thigh swivel, double jointed knees that can only move back that far, and I think these are, no, they're actually swivels. He has ankles that can move down very slightly, up very slightly, and rock very slightly. So yeah, from just the finished product to the articulation, I am not really a fan of this Negan figure. So now, let's go ahead and take a look at the Walker King and its accessories. So for the Walker King's only accessory, you get a different base than the one that I showed off with Negan. This one has a skull with an axe in it, looks like some ammo casings, and some bones here. So that's pretty cool. Now, these come with these clips that I mentioned, and you can actually connect both of these bases like so. It's actually a pretty snug fit. So that's what the bases look like connected. And I think that's pretty cool. I think it's really awesome that you can actually connect the bases with these figures. So now, let's go ahead and take a look at the Walker King. So taking a look at the head sculpts, HIYA Toys did a really good job on both of these. There's lots of detailing going on this. Now, I honestly think the star of these two figures is definitely the Walker King. There's just so much detail going on it. Like on the face, you get a bunch of different tones painted on, like a kind of tan, brown, some reddish for some blood around the mouth there. Some texturing for the skin. That just looks really good. I feel like they missed a little bit of paint right here with the hair. But that's really a small gripe. The head sculpt on this looked really good. And as does the rest of the figure. I definitely wish that there would have been more of a gloss coating like on the torso here. Because if I remember right, it looks really glossy in the show. Like it's really slimy because it's down in the sewers. So I really like that gloss coating they did on the torso. But I wish that they would have done that on the rest of the figure. You get some really good paint variation on this torso though. All the different browns and the reds. That looks really good. And as I said, that gloss coating making it look slimy, it just looks really gross. You can see the faces of the different walkers ripping through the chest right here. I feel like they could have painted the teeth on a little bit better. I feel like the sculpt is there, but it's very subtle. So I wish they would have given some more variation to the teeth here. That way you could tell its faces ripping through the chest right there. But man, I love the detail on this. You can see how the skin is kind of clinging to the rib cage right here. And the way they painted that looks really awesome. I wish the arms would have been a little bit darker, like the torso right here. But I have to say, it still looks really good nonetheless. All the blood paint looks pretty nice. It kind of looks a little bit goofy from behind when you see the butt of this walker sticking out of the torso, or the back right here. That does look a little bit funny. But even the pants on this look really good. I can't tell, it's like a greenish color. And it has a black wash over top of it, as well as some blood paint for like the chunks taken out of the leg right here. Even just the bottoms of the feet have a little bit of a wash to them. The shirt on this walker looks really gross. It's got a brown dry brushing to it, some yellow spots, some blood. Man, that looks really good. I have to say, I'm really blown away by this figure in particular. So yeah, I am really impressed with this figure. I think HIYA Toys in particular did a really good job on this. The sculpt details, the paint, and even the articulation is really good on this one. It's really strange to me that we don't have a Maggie from the show, though. You know, we have Negan, but we don't have Maggie yet, and they still haven't announced her. I think it's very odd that we got the Walker King instead of Maggie. So, hopefully at some point, HIYA Toys does give us a Maggie from Dead City. So now, let's go ahead and go over its articulation. So both of the heads on this, the articulation is limited. The heads can't really move back at all. They can barely move down. They can move their heads side to side and around pretty nicely. The shoulders can only move out that far. You can hear the snapping noise it makes when you move the shoulders out like that. The shoulders down here on the walkers and the torso, the articulation is probably the best in them. You can see that they have a bunch of room up in the joints, so they can move pretty nicely. They all have single jointed elbows. On the walker here in the back, it's kind of limited. It's kind of limited on this one as well. And on the arms down here, they can actually bend in all the way. They'll have ball jointed wrists that can move up and down very slightly and spin all the way around. It has a ball jointed diaphragm and waist that can only move back that far because of the button legs of this walker sticking out. Can't really move forward at all. You get some side-to-side movement here and down at the waist. Hips that can actually do a complete split. Can kick forward all the way, back all the way. A really nice thigh swivel. Double jointed knees that can actually move back. Ankles that can't really move down at all, but they can move up. Very slight ankle rocker. And on these back set of legs, hips that can move out all the way. Really nice thigh swivel. Double jointed knees that can move back that far. And are these swivels or just ball joints? No, these are actually swivels. So ankles that can't really move up and down even though there is a swivel there, and move side to side. So yeah, a really crazy figure with some crazy articulation. It could have been a little bit better, but I guess since it's a walker, you really don't need to get into too many crazy poses. So for the only size comparison, here these figures are next to the McFarlane Toys Negan. And this Negan is in 5-inch scale, and these mini exquisite HIYA Toys Walking Dead figures are in the 4-inch scale. So yeah, these will not fit in with any pre-existing Walking Dead figures that you happen to own. So overall, I think the first two Walking Dead figures from HIYA Toys are off to a bit of a shaky start. I will say, I really don't have any complaints with the Walker King. I think the Walker King is actually a fantastic figure. You know, both of these figures are priced, I think, at like $24.99, and the amount of sculpt and paint detail that you get on the Walker King is fantastic. The sculpted textures and just the gross paint that they did with the clothing and the skin on the Walker King, that looks fantastic. And even the articulation is pretty decent. You don't really need to be getting it into any crazy poses, but they gave it enough articulation that you really could if you wanted to. And Negan really doesn't have great articulation. You know, he doesn't have bicep swivels, which I think is criminal. You know, you should be able to get him holding Lucille in a two-handed pose, but you can't. I don't know why they ever did that. And the likeness is just awful on this figure. On the promo pictures, I think it looked pretty much like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I'm not going to say it was a perfect likeness, but it was a lot better than this finished product. The head sculpt on the promo picture and the finished product is two entirely different things. Like I said, that whole head sculpt is just inaccurate and doesn't really look like him to me. And even the collars are changed. You know, the pants are really glossy and have less detail than on the promo, and his underneath shirt should have been a brighter blue. So yeah, even though I like Negan, I really don't like this figure. And that really sucks because HIYA is the only one making action figures from the Walking Dead spin-offs. I was really hoping McFarlane would, but they haven't so far. So it really sucks that this is the only way to get a Dead City Negan figure. So for me, he is a letdown. Like I said, the Walker King's really good, but yeah, Negan is not. So, that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.